is up? It's Dustin Bezalel from Creative Financial Network. We are pumped and excited to have Mr. Zerek Marquez here on our podcast today. You guys all get the opportunity to hear from one of the newest and younger guys that have entered the business and started with CFN not that long ago, but is kicking ass and taking numbers and having an unbelievable success story that he's writing. So again, pumped to have the time with Zerek. So Zerek, if you can just give us a little bit of background as to what made you get into the financial business at such a young age.
Yeah, so thank you so much for having me today, Dustin. I'll start off by just, appreciating for you to take the time so we can go over all this
Yeah,
together.
man, absolutely.
Yeah, so I mean, that's a really good question, and it's a really good story because I'll never forget. I mean, I'm 22 right now. I turned 22 in the month of March, so not even hasn't even been a full month yet, and I've found myself now in the financial services industry for about a year and some change. And the way that I was able to actually get into it was, I used to be a personal trainer at the time. I've loved the gym. Gym was always my dedication. That was my always my number one priority. In and out of high school, I was always an athlete. So I found myself, being in the same room as very successful people. So, I'll never forget I asked my dad what job should I get coming out of high school, right? I was going to university full time um at the University of Miami on a scholarship, and I ended up getting a part-time at Equinox. I'm not sure if you know that gym,
Sure. Yeah.
Dustin. So basically, I met a bunch of good clients. I mean, people, high level people, like people who were really doing their thing specifically in the city of Miami. So, you know, my dad didn't give me any really good recommendations. He just said, go work in that area because you're going to meet successful people. And,
Right.
sure, I went there and I ended up actually training my mentor at the time. I became his personal trainer. And what ended up happening was, you know, I heard about something like life insurance and all this stuff, and I'm like, man, what even is that? And learned about it, and somehow I found a good passion of wanting to explore that. So, I went to a meeting that they were hosting one day, learned about the business,
Right.
learned about being a producer, but also learning about helping people's financial portfolio, and I fell in love with it. So that was kind of like one of the first steps on how I really got into the business of being in the financial services.
Cool, man. Yeah, and you're competitor at heart, so that you always obviously like to win, being in sports, having that background. And the same thing goes, I think, for for people in this industry from a personality point of view. So what would you say was like your biggest fear when you were coming into the industry?
So I would definitely say one of my biggest fears was just not really knowing what was the right path. And I feel like as I've gotten older and I've gotten more experience in the industry, I've realized that, it's a valid worry to have, but time will take care of that. But I was mainly just worried of like, am I in the right spot? I know I might be in the
Right.
right industry, but am I at the right spot? You know what I mean? Like, should I go join somebody else's firm? Should I go join somebody else's team? Sometimes you come into the business having that doubt. And one of the main things I learned that I can share with you and anyone else who might be
Sure.
listening is there a chance that there's a better place for you? 100%. There probably is a better place for you, but what good is it going to make for you to go to that place if you haven't worked on yourself and your craft first? Because at the end of the day, you can go to one of the best brokerage firms or wherever that is, but you as the producer need to level up you and your game before you can think about going anywhere else. You understand? Like you need to get to that next level. And that's something I started to learn little by little was, I mean, you're gonna be successful no matter what, man. The person who controls that is you. And that's
Right.
through, hard work, consistency, dedication. So yeah.
Cool. How long did it take you to close, I would say, your first case?
October 2024 was when I started, but I didn't actually get contracted to November. So I was reaching out to people, and just having conversations like, "Hey, man, I'm starting this new thing, helping people protect their money and really show them how they can take care of their family as well." And then November came around. I would say November, December, January. So I got contracted in November. January was when I closed my first not only my first deal, but my first big deal. It so happened to be,
Cool.
um, it was by myself. So yeah, I would say around 2.5 months.
Okay. Cool, man. That's I mean that's good. And the fact that it was bigger deal is awesome. A lot of people, I mean, whether they're brand new to this business or experienced in this business, but especially early on, we face rejection. How did you overcome rejection in the beginning, and how did you have the confidence to overcome the rejection and coming from being a fitness coach and not really, let's say, having financial experience and call it sales experience? How'd you overcome that?
Yeah, so that's actually a really good question. And I'm going to actually bring you back to when I was a personal trainer. So one of the main things I always had to do was new members would join, they would get a complimentary assessment. So I'd go into a room with them, it'd be one-on-one time. And basically my goal was to get them to sign up for a package, right? Again, for them, they were just experience a complimentary assessment from a life coach. And I had a good amount of success there. So I started to realize that I did have some type of talent at the time with speaking and carrying myself for specific people and really being able just to like show that I really want to help somebody, whether if it's, with getting their body right, their life, their mind. And it was just the way that I saw it was almost like a game. I mean, me being a competitor, I thought about it in my head as like, you know, we get a script, we get a dialer, we get some leads, and you call. And it's really
Right.
just a numbers game. I mean, we've always known that it's been a numbers game. And when I joined, one of the first things I saw around me were that's what people were doing, and I was like, I mean, if they're doing it, I can definitely do it. So I did that, and it was kind of the same thing. When I had people tell me no in that one-on-one room for the assessments, it was the exact same thing on the phone, right? You tell me no, I'm gonna still try to, show that person some type of value. Except this time it's on the phone, not in person, so it's a little bit less organic, it's just a phone
Right.
call. But the point that I'm trying to prove to you is that I still thought about it like a game, and that's what made it so easy for me to just be like, "Oh, that's just another person who, told me no." If anything, I'll never forget when I remembered, if anything, if you go and you seek no, you're much better off when you get that answer, and then when people are like, "Okay, yeah, I'll hear you out," then you're like, "Oh, okay, cool."
So it's like it's seek the no or expect the no.
Exactly. Like this guy, Grant Cardone. I don't know if you know who he is, but he
Yeah.
he teaches in sales, go for no. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
go for no. And when somebody says yes, you're gonna sound surprised. You should be surprised if they're not telling you no. Like
No.
you, that's who
Right.
you should be surprised of.
Cool, man.
But
Yeah,
that
I
was
like
one of the things that I carried with myself throughout that. And I viewed it more so as like a competition with myself. And that's why I've always had success on the phone. And, even when somebody gives me rejection, sometimes I literally tell myself, like, why would they give me rejection when I'm just reaching out to help them and their family and their finances? And I genuinely believe that to my core. So that when I speak back to them, it's like, damn, this guy really cares about me and he doesn't even know me,
right.
but it's just that's the passion I have for the business. Thank
Yeah,
you.
no, that's awesome, man. So the statistic, and maybe it's changed from years ago, but the success, or I should say the failure rate in this industry over 5 years. So out of 100 people coming into this business, in 5 years, 15 people are still in the industry. So the retention is very, very, very low. What sets you apart from you're making it, right? And will continue to make it, but what has set you apart from you that's making it and on that, that success train to those that aren't? Do you think, is it, you know, um, sales? Is it mindset? Is it discipline? Is it following a plan? Like what is it that you do different?
What I mainly just say is the discipline. And the reason that is because, well, and the mindset. Yeah, I know you said a good one there, mindset. Because I simply just won't allow myself to fail in an industry where first the question was, can I prove that I can get it done? Right? I proved that I can get it done multiple times in multiple scenarios, right? I've faced the adversity of the business. I've reaped the benefits and the beauty of the business, and I've also faced the adversity that comes with being in the financial services. sector. And basically, I've seen the good, I've seen the ugly, and even with all that said, I just think that there's too much beauty in the industry. There's too much good for me to allow myself to fail. So to really answer your question, yes, it's a mindset thing, and I won't really allow myself to even think about after 5 years, only 15 people are successful. For me, it's like after 5 years, I'm gonna have a very large team below me of pure producers, people who are very good at what they do, people who are putting themselves in the position that I'm putting myself in a year into the business or a year and some change. Like, that's the way that I look at it. So it purely has to do with mindset. So if I'm not even thinking about that, I'm just thinking about, like, where am I gonna go in the
Right.
industry? That's already allowing me to succeed and not even entertaining that idea because our minds have so much power and people don't even realize that. It's like, if you think like, oh yeah, there's a chance I could fail. Like, to be honest with you, Dustin, I haven't even thought about that until you just asked me right now. And I definitely won't think about it, but it's a really good question. Hopefully I answered it by
Yeah,
telling you
no, yeah,
basically like,
it's
don't
perfect. There's
even
no
allow it
yeah,
to come
no,
into my
there's no
head.
right or wrong. It's it's what sets you apart. And I think you said two things. It's discipline and mindset. And the fact that you haven't even had failure enter your mind is just proving, that mindset of where you see yourself. And a lot of people in life in general, but especially in this business, they put everybody else here and them here. And it sounds like your mindset is that you've elevated yourself at least to the same playing field as successful people, and perhaps even beyond that as to what you want to create. So no, there's that 100% hit on it. So I, as you know, got into the industry when I was 19, right? You just turned 22, like you just said, and you're having success. But, when we're engaging with clients and we're engaging with clients about, finances, whether that be protection-based solutions or growth strategies, whatever it may be, and being a 19-year-old or a 20-year-old coming in the business, how do you have the self-confidence to advise somebody that might be twice your age or even older than that, hey, this is what you need to do to protect or grow or distribute your assets?
Right. Okay. That's actually a really good question. That's a really good question. I'll say this. When you started in the industry, Dustin, God only knows what they made you call or people to reach out to. Again, you started at 19. I started at 20. God knows that my friends were still just graduated high school, in
Right.
college. So, like, I didn't have that many people to reach out to. So I was recommended to call a specific type of person, right? Specifically, the people that we were reaching out to were real estate investors. I'll never forget, like, getting on those phones and realizing that if I didn't speak, like, I truly believe that I can help that person, they were going to hang up on me before I said hello. Like,
Right.
literally, like, just that energy that you're pouring through the phone, people feel that. And if you don't believe
100%.
that, that's your first mistake in number one, cold calling, reaching out. And that's what I've learned over time. And that's what I've told my newer agents. And I've told all of them is like, you know, as you get started in the business, if you pick up that phone, the doubt that you have in yourself, in your business, the doubt that you have in your ability to help somebody, they're going to sniff that out from the first 20 to 30 seconds on the phone.
Yep.
Okay. And you can sound good on the phone, but if you truly have that doubt in you, I will always make a better cold call on you because I don't have that doubt. So that's why I always teach my agents and everybody around me is like, don't have that doubt in yourself. Don't have that doubt in your ability. So one of my answers to your question is I just made sure, number one, to educate myself. I'm not going to say that I'm the best person at what I do by not knowing what I'm talking about. I made sure through education and doing my homework and being consistent that I knew what I was talking about, especially getting training every single day, right? Like, that was one of the things that I made sure to always have. And that's one of the main things that kept me in the business too, if I'm being honest, in the very beginning
Right.
was like the education had a lot of value. I'm like, man, I know a lot of people don't know about stuff like this.
Right.
So it's like, if there's a value prop, if there's a need for that in the marketplace, what does that do to you? Then that gives you the ability to bring value and therefore make what? Make money, right? That's how the world works. So for me, I knew that as long as I educated myself and I felt confident truly about what I was giving out to the world and to whoever was coming across my path, then I knew that whoever I got on that phone, I had every right to ask them anything I wanted to ask them. I had every right to sound as confident as I did because I believed in what I was doing. I believe in what I'm doing. And, this goes into, for example, sometimes people don't like to ask hard questions, right? We're in the
Right.
money business, right? And what's one of the main things we always have to do is you got to figure out what is a person's finances. People don't like to talk about finances. So not only is it confidence, but then as a 20-year-old, how do you find yourself asking a person how much money they make every month or how much money's going out the door? Or, you know, where do you have your money? Where is it tied up? So for me, it's like, I found myself being able to ask that because if then they asked me, Zerek, why are you asking me that? I'd be like, how would you not expect me to ask you this? I want to help you in ways that you've never been helped before financially. And in order for me to do that, I need to truly get to know you. I need to get to
Right.
know you, your finances. So again, hopefully all this answers your
Yeah.
question that
No,
you originally
absolutely.
asked.
Yeah. No, I think it's great. What do you do? Because one of the probably the biggest issues or challenges that people have in this business is getting in front of enough qualified prospective clients, right? That's just the name of business as a whole, and especially in this industry is marketing and prospecting. So what do you do to market and prospect your business?
I have some guys on my team and I'll have them call a specific list, whether if it's business owners, real estate investors, and once they are able to get somebody on an appointment, we're gonna look to run some joint work together, which will be me running point guard on that and getting that taken care of all the way to the
Right.
finish line. Another way is, obviously high intent leads, people who are looking for what it is that we offer, whether if it's life insurance, generational wealth to pass down to their children, through a policy or whatnot. Again, those leads definitely help with the business. And then I will say one of the best streams, and I know that you can agree with me on this, is when I've already landed a client. Number one, making sure that I service them the utmost, meaning to my best ability, and really taking care of them because then I know that they will send me referrals. Again, your people know people, and then they have people that they know. And that'll be definitely the easiest sale you'll make is the people that your clients already know because you're connecting to that person through a very warm, barrier or bridge, we could call it, right? I mean, again, I've closed business through cold calling, through advertisements, and through referrals, and even people that I know in person. And I'll tell you right now, those referrals are just truly one of the best things you can do for yourself in your business because
Right.
that referral is like they're already looking at you somewhat on a pedestal because you spoke and helped the person that connected you to them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say
Cool.
one of the main things I did was just really make sure I take care of my clients because it's always going to come back to you.
Yeah, so I mean, I heard the 4 things that you just that you just said is actually picking up the phone, having the discipline to do that. You've been a student, you are a student, you're not too great to learn something new, but by being a student and being knowledgeable and educated in your craft, you've built the self-confidence over time to make the right recommendations, ask the hard questions to the client. So again, picking up the phone, building up a team where people are on the phones and engaging in different ways where they're bringing Zarek on a meeting. So you're helping them run business or meetings. Referrals is what you said. And then you also said is investing in your business, which is, and call it social media advertisement or something like that to drive high intent qualified leads. So no, man, that's perfect. I think a lot of people need to hear that, but doing that every single day and creating and having that self-discipline is, I believe, what sets winners up from losers or sets winners apart, I should say, from people that don't make it in this business. And my last question is that if I'm new coming into this business, guy, girl, young, old, doesn't matter, what advice would you have for me in order to gain success really early on?
I would say I honestly feel like people are a little too serious coming into this industry, and they put so much pressure on themselves that they actually self-sabotage. That the answer to your question, I would say, is when you come into this business, just make sure to be able to stay in a relaxed body, have a relaxed mindset, and just have your eye on the prize. I mean, I remember I walked into the office that I was new to everything, and they're like, "Zerek, what's one of the main things you wanna do?" And I'll never forget, I said, "I wanna make this my playground. Like, I wanna make this what I do. I wanna make this, my everyday, and I wanna just take it, and it's mine." And that's exactly what I did, and that's what I'm gonna continue to do
That's
because
awesome.
this is the industry for me. I've already proven that. I've already proven that to myself more than anything. And the number one thing I always make sure when I wake up and come to my office or I'm ready to work is, making sure that I'm going to be in a relaxed body just to produce, speak confidently, be precise on my goals, right? So I would say to answer your question on that broad spectrum, I would say definitely make sure to come in a relaxed body and mind 100% and make sure
Cool.
you get everything done properly.
No, that's awesome. It's all great advice, and I come in every day. I believe wholeheartedly in everything that we do in life. We should always be humble. We should always be self-disciplined. We should always surround ourselves with people that are better than us. We don't have what I call the blue belt mindset, where we're not striving anymore to become better human beings. And you've clearly done that, and associate yourself in success in all aspects of life. So I think this was awesome. I appreciate you taking the time, and I'm super excited to be, sitting co-captain, if you will, and watch you continue on this success journey that you've worked so hard to create. So, hope everybody found it insightful. Zerek, man, appreciate you, dude, and we're out.
Thank you, Dustin.
What